It's kind of complicated because there's lots of people that are working for you, so you manage lots of teams, and the only goal that you have is the profit of the company.
Like, what's your education like when you was working in crypto traffic? That's like really toughest kind of like traffic type.
I had an education, so of course, like I finished university. The majority of people, they finish universities, but they don't really work for the degree that they have. With the crypto traffic, I think it was like 2016, 2017 when I started. It was like the peak when I joined RichAds. It was a big company, and everyone had like their specific role. Everyone was so friendly.
Yeah, for those who don't know, can you introduce RichAds?
So RichAds is an advertising network. So we're a traffic company. We started with push, and we also started with POPs, and right now POPs is really growing for us.
What are the top verticals which are working well these days on POP?
The top verticals on POP traffic are gambling and betting. The difference between POP and push is that in push you have this creative, you have this image, you have this like a little image of gambling or like dating or other stuff.
You know, a few years ago, if you would have thought, one country which I heard a lot about is Bangladesh, right? I mean, I don't understand, like if you look at our audience, that's a Muslim country. Gambling, that doesn't go with the...
Even if it's a Muslim country, there's still people who gamble. Bangladesh is really big on gambling and betting as well. So there's still people who are doing this, and I think it's relevant for every single country. All the Saudi region where people are also Muslims, they are big on gambling and they are big on finances and stuff. The minimal deposit that you have, because for different countries it will be different. You should assume the payment methods that you are going to use, because again, they are not similar from country to country, and you should know that.
Hey guys, welcome to Affiliate World Bangkok. We are here at the podcast booth with Affiliate World, and with me is Anastasiya from RichAds. Anastasiya,
really nice to meet everyone.
Thanks for your time. So first of all, would you like to introduce yourself, what you do, and a little bit about you?
Okay, sure. So my name is Anastasiya. I'm a Chief Commercial Officer at RichAds company. I started working here in 2019, I think, or 2018, and I started just from being an account manager on a junior level. So that was like my started position. And then with the time, I grew up with like professionally, I would say, and right now I'm a chief commercial officer at this company. Before that, I was working with traffic, but in a different company. It was mainly about like crypto only. So it was a part of the experience that I used later on, but not fully. So everything basically that I knew from working in this specific company.
Perfect. So tell me a little bit about being Chief Commercial Officer. What's the role like what you have to do?
So it's kind of complicated because there's lots of people that are working for you. So you manage lots of teams, and basically you are responsible for the profit of the company. So what you do is you bring ideas, you manage how these ideas are implemented, and the only goal that you have is the profit of the company.
That's interesting. So you're the big boss who's going to issue all the checks, huh?
Well, not really, but I'm not such a big boss. But you deal with a lot of questions. So yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. Now let's talk about a little bit about your professional background. Like, what's your education like? And then when you was working in crypto traffic, that's like really toughest kind of like traffic type. How did?
I had an education, so of course, like I finished university, but that has nothing to do with what I do right now.
That's where I'm coming at.
I think like the majority of people, they finish universities, but they don't really work for the degree that they have. Like, for example, I'm like a custom officer by the education, but this is not something that I'm working with. And with the crypto traffic, I think it was like 2016, 2017 when I started. And it was like the peak when the Bitcoin started to growing and everyone was like making their own coins, and the company that I was working for was also making like its own coin, and we were trying to bring traffic for this specific like project that we had. So it wasn't so complicated back then because everyone was so interested and it just started. But right now, yes, it's more complicated than that.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So let's talk about our friends, RichAds.
Yeah.
So when you joined them, how different was it from your previous job?
My previous job was just like a startup with, I think, like 10 people in the team. So you was
Right.
doing like everything. And when I joined RichAds, it was a big company, and everyone had like their specific role. It was kind of a startup back then as well, but it was more like structured, I would say.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because everyone was so friendly, everyone was so young, and like we were all building it with some inspirations, and it felt like we're doing the big thing, and you felt like a part of this company, like a part of the team, not just the job that you had. And everyone, I don't know, spent so much time together, and it was awesome, really. And I
Amazing.
remember it was summer, and we used to work in the office where next door there were like a bar. So every time we left our job, we were all going through this bar, and then we went back home. So it was really, I don't know, like so united, and I think that what made it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Okay, now let's talk about RichAds.
Yep.
Yeah, for those who don't know, can you introduce RichAds, what you guys do, and why they should join?
Sure. So RichAds is an advertising network, and we're really big in traffic. We started, I think, like the mother company started back in 2010, and then it grew to this project of RichAds. So we're a traffic company. You could register at us, and we will give you traffic for any offer that you are like looking for. We started with push. This is what I can say, and we were really big in push. And then I think in 2019 we also started with pops, and right now pops is really growing for us. So we're looking for like more clients in this specific format.
Yeah, I think when it started, it used to be Rich Push. That's why whenever
Yes.
whenever I have to say Rich Ads, I have to stop and think, okay, it's not Rich Push anymore, it's Rich Ads. So
This is actually a funny story because we started as Reach Push because we only had Push.
Yeah.
And then we created Reach Pops, the separate domain for Pops. And then we started to working with other formats like in-page and direct traffic. And we was like, well, we can have like 10 domains, 10 landing pages with different formats, or we can like
Just
just
combine it
unite
all.
it and make
Yeah.
it just ads. And this is how we became RichAds.
Interesting. Okay, now let's talk about pop traffic. As you say, that's something which is really going well. So can you tell me a little bit about pop traffic? What are the top verticals which are working well these days on pop?
The top verticals on pop traffic are gambling and betting. I think this is like the biggest players on this specific format for us and for many companies as well. So there we have like knowledge how to make it profitable, and it's really big with us. Other verticals that are using pop is also like dating is using pop sometimes, and sweeps and some Nutra. So pretty much everything, but the difference between pop and push is that in push you have this creative, you have this image. So when user is looking at this image, he has a choice either to click or to skip this advertising. So he has an idea of what he's going to look for. Like you have this like a little image of gambling or like dating or other stuff. And with pops, the problem is that it's only like the landing page and pre-landing page that you see, no creative. And the user doesn't really know what he's going to see.
Right.
So there should be offers that are most people are interested in. So like gambling, because lots of gamblings and people like to gamble, like betting, people like to bet, and dating, of course, like people like people. So this is like some universal offers, I would say.
Okay. And like, let's say iGaming, what are the top geos working well for your audience or for your advertisers?
We're really big in Asia, Asian region. So it's Indonesia, Thailand, Bangladesh, anything like that. We're also big in, of course, like United States and some South America. South America. Like Latin countries like Brazil, Chile, Mexico, and Africa is kind of popular. So like South Africa and Nigeria and these regions are popular as well. And for Europe, I think not so many newbies are going for Europe because it's kind of complicated because like the bids there are really high and well, you're basically targeting more like an older audience with like top tier one countries. But from Europe, it would be probably like Germany is doing really good with gambling.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Like, a few years ago, if you would have thought like all these countries, like kind of third tier countries,
Yeah.
are working well, no one would have believed. Like, that was totally different. At that time, it was all about US, Europe, and stuff like that. But now it seems like things are changing. Am I right in assuming that?
Yes, you're totally right because it's just changing and everyone is discovering like new countries
Yeah.
where they can legalize their gambling offers and gaming offers, and it's usually like big on like third world, I would say, countries. And one more thing is that there are lots of people there, way more than just in Europe. So more potential users, and it's easier to get this audience. And of course, like if you're looking for deposits, minimal deposit in these countries should be way lower than you are
Right.
going like in Europe. And of course, you should take in account, for example, if you are going for Latin America, that you should have the payment systems that are working there because they are not really same as in Europe. So you should always like customize this when you are going to these specific countries.
Okay. Now, you mentioned deposits. Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing. Like, normally, push pop traffic, the biggest assumption is that, like, where our credit card or where our payment is involved, push or pop or these kind of traffic sources, they don't work really well. Whereas what you're telling me is that with iGaming, where people have to deposit money, that works well on pop traffic.
Well, it's I understand your question.
Yeah, like, that's a little bit like usually people, affiliates assume that it, you know like paper sale or deposit offers, payment, these kind of offers where people have to make payment, they don't work. So that's really surprising. Do you have any like more insights to share on that?
Yeah, sure. Usually people assume that like traffic, like push and pops, is more for like growing the audience of the
Yeah.
website. Yeah, I understand this point of view. But with gambling and betting, you can really have a deposit, and the majority of our customers, they are looking for deposits. And what we do is, of course, we provide like whitelist, but also we have so much of the optimization and all the different strategies that can bring you this deposit. And basically, we just have some sources that are really converting and bringing the deposit as well. And as we are talking more like about pops today, there is direct click. This is like another format. Also called like domain redirect or
Okay.
like everything like that, and it's a bit more expensive than the pops, but
Right.
it's really good for deposits. So also like gambling is using this format as well.
Okay, that's interesting. And now, one country which I heard a lot about is Bangladesh, right? I mean, I don't understand. Like, if you look at our audience, that's a Muslim country. Gambling, that doesn't go with that doesn't align with the audience. So, I think affiliate marketing is always about testing something. So, if you could share more information about that, would be really interesting.
You would be really surprised about like what people like and what people do. And even if it's a Muslim country,
Yeah.
there are still people who gamble. And I mean, let's not go deep in the religion, and
but-
let's not assume that. But Bangladesh is really big on gambling and betting
Right.
as well. So there is still people who are doing this, and I think it's relevant for every single country, and it's not like an exception. And all the Saudi region, where people are also Muslims,
Wow.
they are big on gambling and they are big on finances and stuff. So I don't really think that there are some limitations in this point. People are pretty similar.
I mean, that's a biggest takeaway of this podcast, I think, is that never assume something, test it out, and you will find the results are totally opposite of what you expected. So that's like, a really good insight.
That's
And
of course, and even like I think when people before they started testing out these countries, some other countries, not the Europe, not the tier one, not the tier two, of course they had an assumption that these countries would not really like bad because they are like lower in income than but you see that it's the biggest markets, and I mean, never assume anything before you test it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that's super important for all the advertisers as well, to never assume something. Always test it out and see results for yourself.
Yes.
Interesting. Now, when we talk about like angles, what kind of angles work best?
Angles, can you?
Yeah, like let's say advertise when I'm trying to advertise, right? What should I be using to capture people on pop traffic?
What should you be using to capture people on pop? Well, of course, you should use like a pre-lender. So it should be, because again, as I said, you don't really have a creative. So when user arrives, it shouldn't be landing page where you set the register, because the user, the client, it has no idea where I am, like what I am doing. Like I don't really want to pay from the start. So you should have some kind of a pre-landing where you kind of give the information to the user of what is the offer about. Usually some pre-rolls for like gambling, where you try to win like, I don't know, like some bonus or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you go to the landing page, and on the landing page, of course, you see all this great images and stuff, and you have the registration and so on and so on. And also, I already told about it. You should know the country that you are going for, what people like in there in terms of how you make your landing page. It should be different for the countries, from country to country. Also, you should assume the minimal deposit that you had, because for different countries it would be a different amount. You should assume the payment methods that you are going to use, because again, they are not similar from country to country, and you should know that. And what also bring in great results when you were talking like about hops traffic from our side is to set your campaign. For example, if you are going to target both mobile and desktop, then you should split these campaigns, because mobile is kind of like a little bit more expensive than the desktop traffic, so you can save up on that. You should make like targetings on the latest versions of operational system. You should also use some limitations in terms of budgeting. This is actually really important, because sometimes people assume that traffic will work like great without any touches to the campaign, and this is absolutely not true. I've never seen a campaign that was working great for a long period of time without the optimization. So when you start the test, you create your campaign, you set this all like limitations and stuff. You can ask us for the whitelist, because we have the knowledge of which sources are working best for which vertical, and about like gambling and betting, we have lots of information, so we can provide it to you. But you should limit your budget at the start. You shouldn't really like, I don't know, go with 5,000, just spend them all, and then suddenly you don't have like a greatest results. No, you should start like 500, for example. You make a test, then you do the optimization, and only then you start scaling. It wouldn't work the other way, and everyone should know that. And when we're talking like about the optimization, you should also use the tracking, because with the tracking you can pass the information to our side, and we will be able to help you with this optimization, because we know our platform better than everyone. So we will be able to make the blacklist, to make the micro bidding, where we will be trying to make your CPA as low as possible. And I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, now you mentioned like, you help with blacklisting and stuff like that. For advertiser, what kind of support is available? Like, do you run managed ads, or do you provide an account manager who helps them to do all of this?
We actually do both. So only depends on the amount that you are starting with. So, for
Okay.
example, the minimal amount that you are allowed to start with our platform is $150.
Okay.
And if we go with 500 plus, then we provide you like a manager that will help you with like advices and can provide you the whitelist and stuff like that. And if you go with 3,000 plus, then we can do a totally managed account
Okay.
where the account manager can create your campaigns, can optimize your campaigns. Everything will be included.
Okay, so now there's one problem with the fully managed campaigns. Like sometimes affiliates don't understand this. I personally love this idea of paying invoice every month and letting everything run on its own. Love it. But whenever I talk to other affiliates, they're like, "But aren't you concerned your campaigns are being stolen, or your traffic network or your traffic managers, they just steal your campaigns or they'll give your campaigns to somebody else." How do you answer those kind of questions? I know you're laughing at this, but some affiliates are genuinely concerned. How would you explain these things to them?
So we're not doing that, and we don't work with the CPA. So this is not the thing
Yeah.
we will do. So we don't really run any external offers or something
Yeah.
like that. And the managers, they have like the information. Everything that is done in your account is locked. So if
Yeah.
manager will do anything that is prohibited, you can really like get this information from us. But in general, I don't know, we don't really have this question. Usually I have the problem with the affiliates when they can't really do the tracker to our side, because they're sometimes afraid that we will steal the information, and this is why they don't really do it. But we have our own tests, so we have our own information about our sources. Like we know what is working well, so we don't really need more information from them to understand it. And I mean, it doesn't really matter if you're running your campaign yourself or giving it to the manager. If you, for example, spending lots of money on it, of course we will understand that it's profitable. So it doesn't really matter if it's managed or if it's not. I mean, in case if we would really do something like that, it's not the managed part that would be like the problem, but we don't really do that.
That's interesting. Thank you for answering that. And there's one more thing. Like many people don't understand what a managed service is. So let me explain that a little bit. In that service, you're offered everything. You don't have to optimize. You don't have to create creatives or anything like that. Your traffic source does everything for you because they understand traffic source or how that works way better than you do. They know the insights. They have kind of insights on inside as well. What's happening? How is it working? What kind of bids are working? So if you have got a good offer, if you have got something which is working really well, that is an amazing setup. And I did this hundred of times where I have a good working offer and I just leave it on the ad network to run it for me. All you got to do is make sure tracking is working fine and just pay the bills. Leave rest to the experts. So yeah, okay. Now, what did you say? Sorry, the minimum deposit was for fully managed service.
For fully managed is 3,000.
3,000. That's
And
not a lot.
I totally agree with you about the full. If I would run any campaigns, I would totally go for full managed because it just saves you so much time. I mean, from the one side, manager knows the platform better, manager knows the sources better, manager knows like everything because he works for this company. He has some internal information and stuff. And for the other, it just saves you some time. You don't have to do like anything. So, I mean, that sounds amazing.
It is like every affiliate's dream, basically. But just in case you guys didn't know, you can take advantage of it and make most out of it. I personally have some campaigns running for more than 2 years on fully managed platform, and that's working really well. All right, okay. Now we're towards the end of the podcast. So, is there anything else you would like to share with our audience which can help them to make most out of what Rich Ads, sorry, you guys had to change it.
It's
So
okay, it's
yeah,
okay.
so yeah, any advice how they can make most out of your platform?
So I would really start with either 3,000 for fully managed or 500 minimum. So you can have a manager who will help you with everything, because each platform has its differences. Even if you are working with some of our competitors, still there are some differences in UI and in the ways how to start your campaign and how to optimize it. And the manager is the key thing that can help you. And of course, use the tracking, because we have so many features that you can use when you're using the tracker. You can make an automated rules, so you don't have to make a blacklist yourself. Everything will be done by the system, and everything will be checked by the system each hour. Like, let's be honest with each other, none of us will check our campaign every single hour, 7 days a week, 24 hours. Like, this is impossible. Yeah. And with the tracking, you can make like automated rules that will do this for you, like everything. And also, if you don't know, or if you have any like bad results or anything, like, please contact anyone from our company. Try to get a manager, and I'm sure that you will have a great results, because right now like, pops is growing, gambling is growing, so there is no chance to have a bad result there.
Amazing. Now, okay, perfect. Now let's talk about the event, Affiliate World. How do you find the event, and how was your Affiliate World experience? And do you have any advice for attendees to make most out of it?
So I really like this conference, and this is my second time attending it in Thailand.
Okay.
I were on the Affiliate World in other countries as well. I think in all the countries. So this is like the biggest conference for such networks like us, for such companies like RichAds, and lots of clients, lots of ways to collaborate, lots of new ideas. Everyone is really friendly, and what I advise is to use your own internet, because here Wi-Fi is not the best one, because lots of people and it's just crashing. Yeah, use your own internet, and just try to connect with as many people as you can, because there's so many opportunities, and even if you are not working with this, you have this connection in the future, it will be like relevant for you.
I really love this advice. First of all, about internet. The thing is, when there are thousands of people connected to the same connection, it's supposed to happen.
Yes, it's supposed to happen. It's not like the internet is not good. If we were here, like only four of us, of course we would have like a high speed internet. But here it's like I don't know, thousands of people, and
Yeah, and I love your advice. Basically, that really helps out. Like, be open, meet new people, challenge yourself. If you're shy, like, look at me. I used to be an introvert. I still am. Like, in my social life, I don't like to talk to people and everything. But when I'm at a conference, I'm always like, I challenge myself. Okay, speak to this person, and now I'm sitting in front of a camera talking to you. So yeah, speak to new people, get new ideas. If you have any questions, ask those questions. People listen to the talks. Come up with questions. Go to the networks, for example, RichAds. Go to their booth. Ask them about, like, what are the offers which are working. What's the best CPA on those offers working for, on your network, and what are the top GEOs. Get as much information as possible and use that for your own advantage. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And thank you very much, guys, for your time, and see you all in Dubai. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Good.